Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
And our countdown for funsies. We are 19 days away.
It was supposed to be yesterday.
19 days.
It was supposed to be
we're not
yesterday.
talking about that at the second. But I know this probably threw everybody off because we did a review and now we're coming back to the news. But that's how it's going today. Sorry. On to the story then. Stories, sorry. We got a new poster for Andor. Came out yesterday on the day Andor should have come out.
Oh,
it's like
cruel.
It's like a bait and switch.
Oh, you wanted the show? Here's a poster.
Here's a poster.
It's just as good.
Yeah, yesterday was the original day we should have been able to start enjoying Andor.
Hopefully.
I'm determined, man. After She-Hulk, I have to enjoy something.
No, we can't just enjoy it for the sake of
wanting
to enjoy it so badly. Can we? Is that allowed?
So instead, we get to continue our wait. But we got a new poster. It's using that modern floaty head thing they love.
Floaty head thing?
Yeah, where they kind of just float everybody, fade them into each other, make a stack of people.
Floating, fading heads, yeah. I don't think that's
Hollywood loves
new,
this type of poster. I didn't say
it's actually kind of a I thought you said it was a new.
No, it's
kind of a classic idea.
They like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's old school.
What's funny is how similar this poster looks to the last poster. I'm going to put them up side by side so everyone can see what I'm talking about here.
I feel like it's a Where's Waldo where you got to spot the differences or whatever that's called.
That's one of those fun games. I love those. I'm pretty good at those. Yay. So yeah, a lot of reuse. Literally, some of the characters are in the exact same position with maybe moved around in their spot or like their arm. And, look at Cassian.
Yeah, his hand is up instead of down.
The exact same Cassian. His arm. Same with Luthen.
See, it's a new poster. It's totally new and different. I don't know why you're complaining.
Some characters like Cyril Karn, it's the exact same picture. I was like, oh.
I don't know. Maybe his eyes are a little different or something.
No. So this poster is, of course, showcasing our main or central characters, because why else would you put them all on a poster? But we're going to kind of talk about... the poster seems a little lazy. I've seen fan-made posters better than this.
That happens a lot. Fan-made stuff tends to be... a lot more passion and thought put into it sometimes, unfortunately.
All right, so we're going to kind of go over the faces in this picture here and what we know about them. Sound good?
Sure.
Not going to talk about Cassian. We Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera. These are familiar characters.
Wow,
we know who they are. But there's a few characters on here we don't know a lot about. We've heard a little bit about Cyril Karn, the ISB officer, who's apparently obsessed with Cassian. And apparently he's a bit of a... His mom's a bit of one of those dance moms where he's constantly trying to appease and get her to acknowledge his accomplishments, but apparently she doesn't want to.
She pushed him into the ISB?
Probably. Or he joined it to impress her, and it's still just not doing it for her. Next we have Supervisor Deidre Marrow, our feminist Imperial officer. In a description I read, it said, she is a hardcore Imperial officer who looks down upon her male colleagues, who she considers mediocre at best. In a male-dominated world, she has to work twice as hard to stand out.
Sounds like She-Hulk.
She-Hulk will be her lawyer.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. I don't know much about this character yet, and I'm hoping that writing her story this way actually makes sense in universe and isn't just there to appease our universe. That's all I'm saying on that.
Well, I think we know the answer to that.
Right.
I love that since we're recording this later than usual, we are being attacked by cats right now. If you're wondering why there's a lot of noise and jingles in the background, that probably won't be edited out. There are two hungry cats telling us you are recording later than you are supposed to.
One has his face right by the mic, so...
Anyway, we'll try to finish this before
we get eaten alive?
Yeah, if you don't hear back from us, if there's no news from Naboo tomorrow, we were eaten by the cats.
Alright, next up we see our buddy Luthen Rail. He is on the poster looking mysterious. We know he's got a connection to the rebellion, to Mon Mothma, and that he's going to seek out Cassian for a mission. But aside from that, we don't know terribly much about him. Just the company he keeps.
He seems like he's like some kind of prominent senator, businessman, something.
It does seem like he's prominent or something. Yeah. He's got a...
He seems to start on Coruscant. I think we see him with Mon Mothma in the trailer a little bit.
We do see him with Mon Mothma.
And his wife kind of talks about...
if that's his wife.
Wife or mistress or other woman that he knows.
Okay. Continuing on in our poster, we're on to the people we really don't know anything about. So, near Mon Mothma, right from by her, is Bix Callan. Bix is sort of Cassian's...
That's a Star Wars name, yeah.
Well, what I've read about her is Cassian's sort of love interest at the start of the series. They've kind of been... They've been living in Ferrix. Both of them have been in Ferrix before the Emperor even arrives on this planet, and have had an off-again, on-again relationship since they were 10. They're sweethearts.
Ah, yes.
We don't know what kind of play we've got with all this, but we'll see.
A murdered love interest that spurs him to
It won't
action.
be murder. This is the actress who
they certainly won't do using that. That's like that old trope that... I think they complained about that in the Wheel of Time, didn't they? Where they'd inserted that trope where...
Yeah.
It spurs a male character on because his wife or female interest dies. Yeah. Not going to do that.
And didn't this actress already report that she's in season 2?
Well, that's a spoiler, but I think she did, yeah.
Well, it's a spoiler that the actress should never have said anything.
I agree with that, yes.
All right, coming down from there, under Saw, we've got Kelia.
It's always great trying to pronounce Star Wars names.
Clea. I'm going to call her Clea until I know better.
Talked before because I read I know I'm going to go off topic, but I read the Expanded Universe for years, and some of those names I read, and I get them stuck in my own mind because you literally read them 1,000 times, and then you hear someone else pronounce them, and you're like, are they wrong, or have I been wrong all that time?
Well, this is the character that we've seen with Luthen Rail.
Okay.
We know that she's in the trailer a few times with him, and she's walking down a hallway looking mysterious. No more details on who this character is or what their plot points are. Interesting. We have a name, though, so...
It's something.
Next on for her is Cinta. She is also in the trailer for a few shots, and that's, again, all we know about her. It looks like she might be on Ferrix. She's one of the ones who I think is out in the wooded area.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, the guy with the AK?
Yes. Yes. Caused quite a stir, yes.
The last female on the poster is unidentified. Nobody knows who she is. She's, the blonde from the trailer who looked all shady, like, oh, I'm not paying attention. The stormtroopers walk by and she's like, glance.
I almost thought that was the same as the ISB officer.
No, different person.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who she works for. She could work for the Rebellion. She could work for Saw. She could work for Bix and their shady missions.
At first I thought that might have been her kind of undercover for some weird reason,
she
sniffing out the rebels. She does, well, yeah, she looks, I'm going to guess she's a rebel of some kind.
But which faction? Is she in Saw's cell, possibly?
Team Saw or Team Mothma?
Who knows? But that's all the people on the poster and what we know about them.
Which is like nothing.
Yay!
Except for the ones that we already knew a lot about, which is...
We got a couple of names.
Yeah.
Move on to the next story. The Armitage Hux actor, Domhnall Gleeson, would love to return to Star Wars, but he doesn't think it would happen.
Well, he did have the small problem of dying in the... I guess he could be in
characters can die and come back, it's fine.
Well, he could be in pre-sequel trilogy content. I'm sure a lot of people would love that.
A while back, we kind of talked about how Gwendolyn Christie said she'd love another chance to play Phasma again.
Also would have to...
And we know what happened to her character,
well, we know she could come back, too.
But she would also love to return to the franchise, but...
Hey, no one's ever really gone.
But Gleason did an interview while he's on his press tour for his new series, The Patient. He was asked if he would ever consider returning to Star Wars. He said, "Of course I would. Hux was really interesting, and I think there's a lot more I could do with him. I don't see them making the call. I'm not sure anyone's clamoring for a Hux sequel or prequel, but yeah, of course, those movies are amazing."
He was good in the first film. I actually really...
Well, then they just took him out of most of it.
The second film turned him into a joke immediately. No, he's really good in the first. I
loved him in the first one.
I liked the little sibling rivalry between him and Kylo, and I thought, okay, he's...
Yeah, there was something there.
Yeah, and he was, he had that brainwashed, vibe of committed to the cause,
speech.
To all... Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that shivers.
Yeah, I was all good with Hux in the first movie. I thought, okay, he's pretty good. He's no, Tarkin or anything like that, but, he's discount Tarkin. But... All right,
here's my thoughts.
Okay.
I've made this all work for both actors. I want a prequel, team-up, Disney Plus show with the pair of them in the early days of the First Order. We know from the Phasma novel, which is spoiler territory.
Not really. That book's been out for 5 years.
Okay. So we know in the book that Armitage conspires with Phasma to kill his father to get kind of in command and for her to cover up her origins. What do you think?
I mean, I've said before, like the Phasma book is one of the best books in the new canon, and it's not a very Star Wars-y book. I've said before, it's Mad Max meets Star Wars, and it's really good.
So
She's really, really good in it. Her character makes, I mean, no, this is not meant as a defense of the character in the sequel trilogy, which is poorly handled, but the character does make more sense in the sequels after reading the book, you could say.
Yes, definitely.
So her betrayal, I should say. Everybody's like, well, I mean, how does she betray? Well, they do try to explain it. Now, again, it's after the fact, which is kind of weak, but it does work for what it's worth. And she's really good in that book. So is Hux.
I could see a young, blossoming First Order, picking up maybe picking up at the interludes for the story where Cardinal has Vi and...
Yeah, Cardinal's another character, a red stormtrooper, essentially, before the Sith
he was a commander on par with her.
Yeah.
In charge of, the trooper training and stuff.
Yeah.
But I could see it picking off with, a pair of those two and what kind of things they do to keep their order in line.
Yeah, I mean,
they conspired together to do some pretty shady stuff. You killed his own father.
Yeah.
And
I think
where does it go from there? How do they build the order?
I mean, in itself, I don't think that's a terrible idea for a series. I think that would be interesting. I mean, of course, very heavily connected to the sequels. Not a lot of people kind of like that, but I don't know. You have to, we've talked about it before. The sequels are not going anywhere. They're not going to get rid of them. As much as I and many others would like to see them retconned or modified or whatever else it might be, they're never going to do that. So, the question becomes, what do you do with them? And I don't know.
Maybe expanding on them would improve
maybe
the reception on it?
I mean, the problem is the movies themselves are so disjointed and there's a lot of things in there. I mean, Shadow of the Sith does and I've been meaning to talk about it and review it. It does an admirable job of trying to make sense of some of the stuff that just doesn't make sense, and it ties into other parts of the canon really well, but I don't know what the answer is. I think it's fun to speculate, and I'll probably talk about that book elsewhere, maybe on the other channel, and do some theorizing, but I don't know. I don't know what you do. There's just some people who are never, ever going to like those films or want to see them in the canon, and I get that, as I get the people who love the films and want to see them be a bigger part of the canon. So that's the real sticking point, right? You have the two camps.
Absolutely.
And how do you there's no way to make both of them happy, which is their big problem right now. All right, well, I guess that's all we got for you this time, so take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of today's news, and sorry for the cats being such a burden. I don't know how much they're going to pop up in the audio, but leave your comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars, and until next time, thanks for watching.